And senior writer Seth Wickersham's book, American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, has highlighted some of the struggles that Caleb Williams experienced in his rookie season. The book revealed Caleb's father, Carl Williams, did not want his son to be selected by the Bears because Chicago was, quote, where quarterbacks go to die. New head coach Ben Johnson was asked about it yesterday.
I love it. I love it. I love the opportunity to come on in and change that narrative. That's where great stories are written. And so we're looking to write a new chapter here, 2025 Chicago Bears, and looking forward to the future.
All right, so we're a glass half full kind of show. All right, so we're going to look at this rookie season. Caleb did do a good job of limiting turnovers, third best interception percentage, sixth best touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL. He also showed off his legs, seventh most rushing yards by a quarterback, but of course, the negative here. He did have the worst QBR, throwing 20 yards downfield and on third down. Plus, he took the most sacks, and we know that that's not all the fault of the offensive line, can also be the quarterback as well. How do you think, Mina, Ben Johnson can help him this season?
There's a lot of things he's got to improve at. Number one is just play faster. And to go back to your glass half full view, the games where he did play fast, he looked great. Think about Jacksonville, Green Bay, Minnesota, weeks 11 and 12. You saw that when he was getting rid of the ball quickly, he was accurate, decisive, and then special when he had to be. The problem was there were too many points in the season where it felt like he wasn't trusting what was in front of him, wasn't throwing with anticipation, wasn't throwing the ball over the middle of the field. So for Ben Johnson and the skill players, by the way, it's all about rebuilding that trust in the structure of the offense so that he can play on time. That means when you use motion to displace a second level defender so that Caleb knows, okay, if I rip it here, I have my right receiver has leverage. Or when he turns his back to the defense off of play action and then he turns around, the dig is going to uncover the way it so often did in Detroit. If they can build that around him and he can develop trust in it, that's where I think success is going to come from.
And it's so interesting, Mina, because as a head coach, Ben Johnson not only has to worry about all the things that you just talked about, but also how he addresses the media, the kinds of things he says at the mic. What did you make of what he said, Peter, about changing the narrative?
I think it's interesting. I think everyone looks at Ben Johnson when he was a Lions coordinator and sees this cerebral guy, maybe a brainiac, not a social guy, and maybe not the best emotional EQ just because we hadn't seen him. And in his first 9 months or 6 months with the Chicago Bears and the media, you hear guys on the actual Zoom call being like, I love this guy. He's talking, he's positive, and he's actually connecting with these players in a real way. Truth of the matter is, Seth's book is going to be a banger. It's going to be a bestseller, and it's going to reveal a lot of things about a lot of quarterbacks. But that's ancient history right now for the Chicago Bears. They've got an entirely new brass in there, whether it be the quarterback room or the coaching staff or a lot of the people who are going to be on the field with Ben Johnson, with Caleb Williams. I don't think they're losing sleep over what's written about something that happened 18 months ago.
Well, Peter, wasn't that one of the questions about Ben Johnson, right? How he would lead, how he would talk to people. And then they played the video of him walking into the Bears training facility for the very first time, and it looked like he was born for that moment. It looked like he was a natural at commanding the room. He was very different than I think a lot of people expected, and way different than the perception that existed of him on the outside world. And he's continued to act just like that, and he is the reason that the Bears are excited about this season, because they brought him in there to help turn Caleb Williams into the type of talent that he is. With the #1 overall pick, they took him, and they believe Ben Johnson's capable of elevating his play. And if we look at the quarterback gurus that have been brought in across the league to work with quarterbacks, they've typically elevated their level of play. If he can do that, then the Bears finally could have a quarterback who could throw for 4,000 yards in a season. How many times have we heard about that? They've rebuilt the offensive line. They've added more weapons. They're doing everything they can, leading with hiring Ben Johnson, to elevate Caleb Williams and to make sure that he fulfills the potential that he had when they selected him with the #1 overall pick.
Adam, I agree with that. I have the good fortune of working with Ben in Miami, and he believes in fundamentals. If you go back to where the Detroit Lions were 3 years ago when Dan Campbell and Ben all got there, they were 3-13-1, but what they started to do is not lose the game, make your opponent beat you. And when you're sacked 68 times, as Mina alluded to, it's really hard to win games. So I expect this team maybe not to be flashy, but have great fundamentals. I do think Caleb Williams will have his clock sped up, and I don't think it's a coincidence, Hannah, that their first pick was Colston Loveland, because I think you're going to see a lot of checkdowns to him. I think that's going to be a way for Caleb Williams to get rhythm and confidence in this offense. And I think 2025 is a foundational year, much the way Dan Campbell's first year was in Detroit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Campbell is such a culture setter, and you look at both of his former assistants now who have gone to new teams who appear to be doing the same thing, including Johnson, and maybe that's an added bonus people might. Hey everybody, and welcome to NFL Live. It's a holiday weekend. We have a great Friday show for you today. So Saquon Barkley, did you hear this? He thinks last year's Eagles team is top 5 all time. Our crew has some thoughts on that. Also, as you know, it's yearbook season, so our friend Bill Barnwell, he's dishing out some superlatives. Find out who received what this offseason. Plus, Derrick Henry. Hey, this man got paid this week. Sits down with King Henry to find out all about his role in the resurgence of the running back position. We have Mina Kimes with us. We have Kevin Clark with me here in studio. And Bill Barnwell, now he's been gone for a while because he and his wife just welcomed their first child. Graham, congratulations, Bill. You getting any sleep? I know everybody asks that with new parents.
More sleep than I get during a typical NFL season. So a little worse than your typical off season, but I'll take it so far.
Okay, I guess that bar isn't very high then. All right, meanwhile, the Lions are sleeping a lot better now that Aiden Hutchinson has been cleared to return.
Hey.
The defense took a big hit after Hutchinson went down in Week 6 of last season. In their first 5 games, they ranked top 7 in pass rush win rate. Say that 3 times fast. Sacks per game and opponents' yards per dropback. Then, without Hutch, they ranked in the bottom 6 in every single one of those categories. Here he is yesterday on whether he has some added motivation now returning from injury.
I would say there's motivation not from it getting taken away, but me putting that on tape, and I had a lot of growth in those first 5 games to where I feel like you evolve as a player, and things were clicking at a high level, and I had a lot of thoughts at the time that were like, if I'm thinking about a golf swing, you have the good swing thoughts going on. Like, that's kind of pass rush, and I had these good pass rush thoughts, good things going on, and I feel like that's just going to carry over, and I'm going to continue to build on that.
Now, I really love the analogy to swing thoughts in golf. What are your expectations for that defense with him back?
Well, certainly improved when he's back in the lineup for obvious reasons, one of the best pass rushers in football. I thought that they would add another pass rusher to complement him, though, and I was a little bit surprised. I think that was the expectation a lot of folks had of Detroit. But I think that the way they approached their roster was to help the pass rush in other ways. So starting here, the Lions' defense was actually better versus the pass than versus the run last year in just about every metric: DVOA, success rate, EPA per play. So in the first round, they go out, they get a big run-stuffing defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams. I think the hope is they'll be in more 3rd and longs. And then they added to the pass defense the secondary. You add DJ Reed in free agency, Avonte Maddox, Terrion Arnold is a rookie last year. Hopefully he takes another step, and as Registraw gets healthy. So I think their thinking is, if our secondary plays better and our run defense is better, we can help the pass rush and Aiden Hutchinson without adding another pass rusher.
First of all, Mina, I'm not going to talk about my golf swing because this only is an hour show, and I could talk about that for about 10 hours. So I'll just move on very quickly here. Aiden Hutchinson, at the time he got hurt after 4.5 games, had 45.